Hi and welcome to Trans Norge, a podcast by and for trans people. It's made by PKI, the Norwegian Patient Organization for Gender Incongruence. How can social media be used in activism? How does it feel to have different aspects of your identity taken away from you? And how does it feel when you realize that Norway is also a country with racism, homophobia, and transphobia? These are some of the questions you might get an answer to in this episode of Trans Norge.
Okay, let's do it in English.
Yeah, let's try. And if I don't know the words, I'll put in some Norwegian words. That's totally fine.
Perfect.
Perfect. Okay, so I have invited you to this podcast, and I have to say, I'm not on TikTok. I'm old. I'm not on TikTok. I actually deleted my Instagram.
I'm too old to be on TikTok too.
Thank you for saying that. So I was not aware of your existence, even though you're like a super celebrity in trans Norway. Before I read the interview you did in the last utgave.
Yeah.
Of Blick.
On Blick.
Yeah.
Thank you. I didn't know I was celebrating, but thank you.
Well, apparently you are, because now you're on the cover of Blick, and also you have like 1 trillion followers on social media.
Yeah, I am glad that most of people that I try to reach are outside of Norway, because I always think like I am from Somalia and there is no like literally visibility for my community. So that's how I started. And apparently money like me should be out there.
I totally agree. But yeah, for those who doesn't know you, please tell me who you are. Name, pronoun, and a little bit about yourself to the audience.
Yes, my name's Alisha. I am 26 years old, originally from Somalia. I have been living here in Norway since I was 16 years old, and I identify as she.
Mm-hmm.
She, hers. Yeah.
Perfect. So I don't know if you ever listened to my podcast, but my main audience is like trans people. So I would like you to try to imagine that you're kind of aiming for an audience who is not cis, like your fellow trans people. And I will also like you not to cater to my whiteness or my Norwegianness or the audiences who might also be white and Norwegian. Because I wanted to create a podcast that makes us tell our own stories to ourselves and not try to cater to the normative or the majority society, if you understand what I'm meaning. Yeah,
I really do like that. That's so beautiful, by the way. I would love that we had that perfect world where trans were trans, like not the other social norms doesn't affect us, but they do. But in this case, yes, because I think our struggle as trans, we all go through the same struggle, no matter which skin color you have, no matter where you come from, which religion you have. Because I am from Somalia. I grew up in Somalia. I came to Norway, and I relate with trans people more than my own like country people. You know what I mean? So I think our struggle is a little bit more unique than anyone else.
Yeah, I wouldn't know because I am trans, but besides being trans, I am also like a white man. But of course,
I will not hold you against.
Well, thank you.
I'm joking.
Feel free to do so, because I have a responsibility as a white man to be in this world in a way that is better than what white man people have been doing. I
really think that's nice. We get caught on the small things, but the bigger picture is like humans. We forget that we are all human, and I think people always like. For me, for example, I always have like some people. So the issue is not only skin color. It's not only gender. People always have something to oppose you.
Yeah.
Yeah. and they are very good to find something to justify their hate when we talk about generally. But yeah, if I talk about me as trans, I came out like a year ago as trans, actually.
Congrats and welcome.
Thank you. But everything went so fast. I knew the whole time, but I just didn't want to admit it.
Mm-hmm.
I tried to find any other reason beside than being trans, that I am drag queen, I am, non-binary. But when I look back, I knew all along, I knew it. But the minute I reached that point where I was like, am I going to live for me or for others? That's when I started like being myself.
Yeah. So now you're living for yourself.
Now I am living for myself.
I'm glad to hear that. And as you said, that is like moving fast now. But isn't that just because like you've been living for other people for basically done 25 years? It's about time you start living for yourself.
Yeah, thank you. Finally someone understands.
Yeah. And like, to me, of course, you're young. I'm 35, but like, so you have a lot of life in front of you, but being trans, it kind of feels, I don't know if you relate to this, but to me, it felt kind of like when I transitioned or like came out, it was like I started my life over again. And then I've counted my life from that moment. So sometimes I'm kind of feels more like I'm 12 because that's like the amount of years since I transitioned.
That's true, because that's when you start becoming yourself.
Yeah. And then so you're like a 1-year-old grown up in a way. So you need to be in a little bit of a hurry to catch up with yourself.
To catch with the time.
Yeah.
It is a lot happening. It's so exciting. It's so beautiful. I am learning a lot of things. I am trying new stuff. It's a journey and it takes time. I remember the first, because last year when the school started is when I said like, you know what, now I'm going to dress full time as I always wanted. And I remember I dressed like a grandma. I didn't know what to buy. I didn't know how to do things. But from that point to now, which is only 1 year, I come a little bit too far.
Too far?
Not too far, but far enough for a year.
Yeah, that's good. I think that like finding your gender expression, I think that I've often feel that trans people are being like ridiculed or being like criticized when we are too much or too little, too feminine, too masculine, and so on. And I think that cis people need to understand that finding your gender expression is something that cis people also do. And that's like, if you look at young cis girls, like teenagers, they have what I would call outrageous gender expressions throughout their teen years. And that's like their way of finding their womanhood or femininity. And they do gender in a way that most grown women wouldn't. Yeah. And we don't ridicule that. We see it as a natural like experience and expression of different gender, like your gender travel in a way. And I wish we could do the same for trans people instead of like saying that trans people are not good at doing gender. I think we're very good at doing it. And it is like a journey. It's allowed to be. It is. Yeah.
And it's so funny, you know, it's exactly what we have said before, that people always will find something to oppose you. And I think it's so ridiculous that people are trying to like a way of becoming a trans woman or trans woman. Like, where is the criteria for it? Like, you know, we are so different. There is no specific way to be this or that. So we are all like, at the end of the day, trying to find, I have bought clothes, like all my money went for the last year to clothes, because I have been trying to find something that I feel me as individual, as also trans woman, but my own style, what I am comfortable with my skin and all that. So I think it's easier to just stand out there and say, oh, they are overdoing and they are not doing enough and all that. Mm-hmm. You are not the one who is in the situation.
No, and it's not like our gender is not defined by whether or not cis people find that we do it properly or do it in the right way. And I have to say, like, based on the pictures in Blake, you look fucking amazing. So
thank you so much. By the way, I was really happy that you approached me. You are the first trans I have seen in Norway. Hello. Sorry, cat. I watched your documentary, and oh my gosh, I'm so happy that I'm here today, be very comfortable talking to you, because when I was watching you, I was like living in you. I was like, oh, this is so beautiful, you know.
But thank you. That feels very good, and I'm also glad because I've always thought, and okay, let me rephrase that. So I think it's important that we get out in the open a lot of different trans voices to see the diversity that exists within our community. But I also find it remarkably beautiful that you did find some kind of identification with this very with like a white trans man who in a lot of ways is living a life who is nothing like your life, and still you find something that
Isn't it beautiful that's exactly what I've said in the beginning, remember? Like,
I get it.
Trans people, we always have this, no matter, you grew up in a Norway, which is a very like modern and better than in many ways where I grew up, yet I could still relate with you. So and that's one of the things that I really try to be on social media, because when I was growing up, I haven't seen anyone like me. I haven't seen anyone I could identify with, like back when I was home. So, and that's why now I'm trying to give my younger me what I have missed.
Yeah, you're going to make me cry.
No.
Okay, so
let it all go. No,
I know. I cried my fair share of trans tears. So.
Oh well, that's nice.
Yeah,
I really do it.
So you decided that you wanted to give, as you said, your younger self someone to look up to, and you do this by posting videos on TikTok. Are you on any other platforms?
I'm not very good on social media either, so I only figured out TikTok, even though I said I'm too old to be TikTok. But I found a way to because when I first started on TikTok, actually it was Corona time. I was bored, and I came on TikTok. I put some makeup. It was horrible, and I just made some videos, and I get this rage and hate and negativity, and a lot of people like denied my identity, and then they were like, oh no honey, you are not Somali, you are someone else, you get a contract. Somebody paid you, like, you know what I mean? And I was like, oh my gosh, like we are missing many people like me here. And then that's when I started putting out there, and my videos, because I couldn't relate this new Somali where like everything has changed. So I went back in order to be proud to the old Somalia, the culture, the music and all that. And it became a way of me to prove that I am Somali and LGBT. And then I get this crazy response from people who were hungry for this, from LGBT Somalis who are all over Europe and America and in Somalia, because Somalia, like there was a war. So people left from country and has been living in abroad over 30 years. So a lot of people were living in their bubble. And I have to say, the hate is going down. The rate of the hate is going. Sometimes I make a joke with my friends and they say, you know what, now I need to make something new, like, because sometimes you need that discussion. Let's be a little bit more provocative.
I'm all for being more provocative, or at least not like moderating or censoring yourself in order to not receive hate. I love the idea, but I also have to say, as an old trans activist, I do hope that you are protecting yourself, that you are also logging off the internet and not reading every comment.
Thank you. That's a very important. I'm learning. In the beginning, I was like, "How dare you say this to me?"
Yeah.
And mostly, I oppose people from my country, and we have this whole tribe thing in Somalia, and which is more like to show. It's basically ridiculous because our system is based that some people are more powerful than others based on a tribe, and I was using that card, and I was like, "No, I am not," because what they try is they try to mindre göra dig. How do you say it?
You could basically say make you less or make you smaller in a
Yeah,
way,
yeah.
maybe. Yeah.
So they find every other reason to put you down so that your message doesn't become strong enough or your context. But now I just thought like, I just put out a video, I shake my belly or whatever I have, and then that's it. So yeah, that's all I'm doing actually, just for visibility.
I'm glad. And you said like people will always use, if people hate, they're gonna hate basically.
Yeah.
And, by that meaning that they will always find something to put you down or like make some kind of excuse to dehumanize you or make you less what you are. And you said that some people are trying to take away your Somali identity.
Yeah.
But how does it feel to have your identity being taken away from you, both like your gender identity but also your Somali identity and so on? How does it feel that to just be in that space where people have an opinion about whether or not you are real?
Exactly. You know what I do to that? I go back, I memorize and learn this. There is this beautiful Somalia which we didn't experience, that our grandfathers and most of our parents have seen. So what I do is I use time to memorize this. I do this theater clips, they use a very difficult and old language. I memorize and I put time on it and all that just to prove. And that's what I say sometimes, because people have been dehumanizing us and they have been taking everything from us, that in 2022, I have to like make videos that we are just human. I'm still telling people that we are human. We're not vampires.
Yeah, but it's like we can laugh about it, but it feels so absurd to be a human in this world, having to try to convince other people that we are human.
It is, and in this time, and I get these comments where people, I have been taught by, I've been taught religion. I know my fair share, and sometimes I get these comments where people are like, they don't know what they are talking about. They're just saying, "Oh, you have been killed based on that and that." And I ignore most of the time, but sometimes I answer and I tell them the real verses and all that. And they still say, "Oh no, this person is not Somali." But then I know that they will do everything in order for you not to relate with people, in order for you, because you will confront their hate, you will confront their judgment, and they will have to reconcile that they did wrong to me and to my people and to all LGBTs. But then sometimes it's easier to deny than to accept.
Yeah, I think people do that a lot. And in order to continue discriminating against someone, you have to make them less human in a way.
Yeah, it is. And it's ridiculous, but it's getting old. We are all fighting with it. So I'm really not gonna be like, I'm so proud and happy, because I think even though what happened lately kind of demotivated all of us, what happened in the Pride.
Yeah.
But then before that, I thought, oh my gosh, we are doing better. But we still have a lot to do.
Yes. Oh, we definitely do. And I think we are unfortunately looking at a backlash like all over the world. LGBT people are losing grounds, women are losing grounds, and it's like there's more fascism and neo-Nazis going around. There's like European countries where basically parties who are neo-Nazis.
If there is,
it's like it's in parliament.
It's horrible. I say this: if there is a group that I am, all of me is against, is those.
Yeah.
Because they are against my whole existence in everywhere, like my religion, my gender, my skin. Where would I go? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So those are like the worst.
Yeah.
But can I ask you a question? Do you
Yes.
do you feel this that now the fox is becoming on us trans people? Like it's not about the whole LGBT anymore. It's just trans people on the fox, and we are the ones who are getting the heat lately.
Yes, definitely. At least in like, and of course that's like the discourse that I follow the most is like in Western countries. But I think like in countries where the rights are and the norms are pretty open towards lesbian, gays, and bisexual people, as long as they're cis, they're trying to like separate trans people from the whole LGBT and queer movement and target us. But it's also like a part of the whole anti-abortion and like, I think they're gonna come for gay people. And they're gonna come for.
But they already did.
Yeah, they do. But of course, targeting trans people is very easy because people lack the knowledge, and we were not as included in society in the first place. So it's like easier to target. At least in Norway, it's easier to target trans people than to target gay people in general. For instance,
I've heard this history. I don't know where I heard it from. But it's a history that a father is explaining his children how the family is stronger together, and he breaks one stick, and he shows how easy it is to break that stick, and he takes all of the sticks together and shows it's hard and difficult. I really think when we are united as LGBT, because some now people in my TikTok they try to say like, oh, but you have already did this and that. You have already started your treatment. You look like women. Like you shouldn't be an issue. But a guy who loves a guy or a girl who loves a girl is more issue. I was like, honey, no, don't come for my people. We are all in the same boat. So we should be more like stronger as community. That's what I always say.
Yeah. Yeah, and we have things in common. Like some gay people are obviously not trans, and some trans people are straight, and that's just. But we're still part of the same community, and we should never let like the majority people be like, oh, you are on the inside, but the rest of you are like on the outside. So people could be like that. Like, we are okay if you conform to these rules, if you behave in this way, and then they will try to include you and try to move you away from your own community, which I think is very dangerous.
It is, because it's basically when somebody does that, they are throwing you under the bus.
Yes.
Yeah, you are the one who has been thrown for the like lions. I'm from Africa. I know lions as something will eat you.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. So for the people who does have TikTok, what's your like handle, or how do we follow you? Where can we find you?
Oh, I say this in it's so funny this when I tell people I say this. There is a word in Somali. It's called khanis. I don't know if I can say it means faggot.
Oh, yeah, you can say faggot on the pod.
Okay. So they have been using that word for many years, and now there is no other word for it, basically, for being homosexual, let alone trans. And what I try to do is take back the word, because it always like hurted us. When I was young and I heard that word, I used to feel like a knife in my stomach, physically. Not only mentally, because, you know, and now what I do is I make hashtag to that, khanis. But my TikTok now is Somali trans LGBT QI queen. It's long.
Yeah, but you need all of that.
Yes.
Especially the queen part.
Yeah, thank you. And TikTok always gives me this warning where they say, oh, you are claiming someone that you are not.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, social media, people just report me for just existing.
Of
And
course.
then sometimes they close my account.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that, but yeah, that's like the downside of social media these days, I guess.
That is. But if you write Somali LGBT, you will find me.
Perfect. And you said, yeah, you're trying to reclaim words that has been used towards you and other queer people. Yeah, we have like a proud tradition of doing that in the queer community, I think.
We do.
Yeah, basically just the word queer, which is also like taking back.
Because when you take back the word, it hurts less, doesn't it?
Yeah, and yeah, it does. And I find that, I'm not to say, because that's not my word, but So I find it interesting how it is doable with some words and towards some groups, and for other groups it's not, apparently it's not doable. And so it's a tactic you could use, but it doesn't always work. But sometimes it works, and I think it's good. Try. Give it a go.
Where I come from, they use faggot for everyone.
Yeah.
It's just it's horrible, I know, but that's the only word that they still write it, and sometimes I make fun of it.
Yeah, but I'm thinking that's basically the same in Norway. When people are using like gay or saying like homo, in like Norwegian schools, they're basically both meaning like to put down feminine straight cis men. And they're putting down queer people in general, both trans and sexually queer people. I think it's just like...
The funny thing is, look, I went through, I had this culture shock because I thought in my mind, if I come to like Norway or, in a Western country, everything will be fine. I will be accepted. Here's the heaven. And then I was really very good at learning the language in the beginning, and I went to high school like too quick. Before I was here less than 2 years, and I went to this place. I lived in a city called Sundalsøra.
Yeah, I've been there.
Remarkable.
Mountains? You're calling it a city.
It's not even a city. I know. Don't let them come for me. But I went there in the high school, and for the first time I was like, because I was always feminine when I was a child, and people used to wonder when I was a kid whether I was a girl or a boy and all that. But then when I become a little bit teenager, I have learned how to control, how to close, how to pretend, and when I come to high school, I thought, I'm with white people, I'm going to let my guard down. They're cool and all that.
Well, where do you get the idea that white people are cool?
American movies. And they started, are you homo? And then, oh my gosh, the whole trauma came back quickly. And I quit school. And I thought, like, I remember I had this contact person, right? And then they're like, why are you going? Why do you hate school? I couldn't even say. And I get a job, and I moved to even a smaller place called Tingvoll. And I started working in a store, like a grocery store. And I worked there for some time, and I said, people will always, even my coworkers started asking. I was like, how the hell can I hide this? People will always ask. And after really a downfall and depression and, fear and all that, I hit the rock bottom, and I thought, you know what? That's it. I'm done. Where there's no other place to go other than up. So I said, yes, I am. So what? Some say, okay, it's all right. Others were like, oh, yeah, okay, And then finally I started like learning, accepting me, putting all this, because I was carrying the baggage of hating myself through the norms that I grew up with.
Mm-hmm.
So in time, that I always see people, we will heal in time. So it took time, but finally, like, even in Norway, I had to struggle mostly, like myself, but it's everywhere. I just wanted to say that the struggle doesn't finish when you come to here, because you apparently, yeah, were also struggling.
Yeah, and I think that like the whole idea about Western and white countries, especially being like not homophobic or not transphobic, is like in itself, it's kind of like a racist notion. We have kind of made it into that being homophobic and transphobic is something that the others do. So we like white people pin that on people of color and on religions that are not Christian religions and so on. So it's like, to me, it feels like part of a just
political,
like and just like pure racism, or as you can call it, like homonationalism.
I think it's this picture that the world sold, which is like everything is good here.
Yeah, it's not. We have homophobia, transphobia, and we have rampant racism all over, and it's
It is, and I also learned that you are more vulnerable to it when you are from other countries, because I stopped going out now here in Alisha. I feel like sometimes I don't even know why I'm paying taxes because I don't have like the whole every privilege that all citizens have. Everyone, all my co-workers, like on everyone I know, can go out one time to time and have fun, and they are protected.
Yeah,
I am not.
I know.
So I had to choose, like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna take my wine and just gonna watch my South Korean stuff and just be home. If I am here in my city, because every time I go out, there will be an issue. So you think like, the government and we have to do here a lot.
Yeah, there's a long way to go. And and I do hope that, like, in the light of the events, this Pride and the shooting, I do hope that people realize that being queer in Norway is not safe. It's not like we are safe in the way not queer people are. And I also think that I at least I hope, and I feel, I don't know if this is a question. So to me, as and I've said this like 10 times, a white man, but to me,
please.
I felt like that the discussion after the shooting this summer in the queer community, we were quite good. I was pleasantly or like positively surprised at how anti-racist that discussion was. Like how the queer community did not indulge in this like racist propaganda and made this into like, this is like homophobia and transphobia is not something that exists within minority communities in Norway. It's a general problem that is also definitely being owned by white Norwegians in Norway. But I don't know if you agree, because that's easy for me to say.
I really think I agree with you, because I saw that, and I thought like I was proud at that moment to be in Norway, because I felt people have learned. You know, I wasn't here after the Anders Breivik stuff happened.
Mm-hmm.
People reacted, as I heard, to immigrants before they found out who was the real person behind it.
Yeah.
And when you look that, it's, how long is it now? 10 years? 12? 10.
2011. So 11 years. Yeah.
So I think people have learned. You know, people will learn. So people didn't like react negatively towards immigrants especially not the LGBTs, but of course others will always try. And I have seen the comments, and it was really nice. We stand together because I have never felt so unsafe after what happened, because I always had
yeah, of course you might have been in the position of being targeted by everyone, because
and I thought, like, what happened? I was like, God, I've left from a gun and there's another one here, so it was nice. I think people are learning and understanding that we say this in Somali, stekepanne.
Yeah.
Like, what do you call it in English?
It's like a frying pan, or
frying pan. Yeah. The frying pan. If you are cooking with food, it will be heated from both sides. Down and up. So I think as when you are LGBT, you will know that the grass is not greener from the other side.
Agreed. But I still think that there's a lot of stuff we still have to deal with, even though at least the queer community has been fairly good after the shooting, but I don't feel that the general society has understood really what's going on. And I don't feel that they're out to protect us, neither as queer people or as migrants or the combination of the two. They still have some work to do.
They have a lot to do, and we can't deny that there is also racism within the LGBT community.
Definitely.
And there is we have to say it. It's maybe a little bit. You may be a little bit. I always think that maybe you are a little bit more stronger when you are queer and invandrare, like from another country background. Maybe you are a little bit stronger and you can stand up for yourself, but still the racism within the community exists, and that's why the stick thing matters, because I think when we are all together, we are all stronger.
Definitely. And like, of course people are strong, like no one is going to take that away from anybody, but still it's like when you're inside of your own queer community, you should be able to let your guard down and not be subjected to racism. It's like being hated, like in your safe space, you should not be hated for being some part of yourself. That's just like even worse. It really hurts me. It doesn't hurt me. But it's like we need to no, but we need to get a grip.
That's why we wonder a lot, that because we don't feel home, like very home in anywhere. And maybe a lot of people wouldn't understand that why we are, like, a lot of us are together, and when we have events of ours, because even though we are in the society generally, and still we are in the communities that we are from as queer together, but still there is this long length, like there is this hole, I don't know, that we all are missing, because that's why I go to Oslo and I go to this Salam or Shaiv Invandrare stuff happening, and it really gives me a lot of energy, and I basically feel my cultural share, and then I come back here like living the life.
That sounds perfect. And I think that's very important to have like separatistic organizations. Like anyone is allowed to organize without having others present in a space. That is like, if you need that will happen. So if I just see that some people get like angry when people are like doing something that's separatistic in a way, like having an event for only queer people of color, for instance, and then some white people get angry or some straight people get angry. And I was like, if we as people outside of that community were actually made spaces who were safe and open, then people wouldn't do this separatistic to begin with. So as long as people are doing that, that's clearly because there is a need for that kind of organization.
That was very smart of you to say. Thank you. Yes.
I did not invent that thought myself. Just so like.
Men du har gjort det kopplingen. Så And it is. I agree with you. I know allies are always welcome in it for every group, whether you are like no LGBT people doesn't. We all have friends who are cis men, cis women.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, yeah, we are all together, and then it's beautiful to be an ally and to support your friends, whether they are people of color, like immigrants and queer only, everything. But you have to understand there is always, and this is a message I'm saying to people, that there is always experience that you didn't have, that these people have, that they can relate. And it goes for every group of people. It goes for cats. My cats like other cats.
Agreed. And cats need like a safe cat space to just be cats without humans present. Yeah.
I was, this is not related, but I was looking for like a cafe in Japan because there is like cat cafes in Japan.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I was, and I am becoming one of those cat owner ladies.
Crazy cat lady.
Yeah. So I was thinking, I'm going to go to Japan and, make my cats meet other cats to have their own space. So it is important.
I think it is. It builds like a strong identity. And also builds like an identity where you don't have to prove yourself all the time in order to be valid.
It is. You learn that we always use these masks, but I before I met my partner that we live together, he's from Geiranger, he's Norwegian. We are all white Norwegian, and yeah, I really like. It's the first time I've learned. Like, it's because of course we are living together and all that, but I've learned that when you are with someone that you feel safe with, you don't need to be in defensive. You don't need to hide a part of you or some of you. So I hope everyone have friends or people that they can be with themselves like 100%.
I'm very happy that you found that kind of love and a person who can give you that space to be yourself.
Thank you. I had to mention him. If not, he will be mad. No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
I did hear him in the background, so he sounded nice.
I've called him. I don't know how this works because the computer I'm using is a gaming PC.
Okay. You're not into gaming?
I'm not.
No, a lot of trans people are. I'm not myself either. So
you are not?
No, not at all. But I'm like fairly used to hanging around people who are into gaming because it feels like a big thing in the trans community.
It is, and I tried. I become so heated, and I take it so literally. Stop it! I'm like, you know what? I can't take this.
Like, I have enough to be angry about in real life. Yeah, I can't take this too.
No, I take it so true, and I go so inside. So I was like, you know what? I have enough.
Okay. So you mentioned that when you started doing your TikTok videos, you were kind of bored and you were trying to be something for your younger self, and you got a lot of hate. And you said that the hate is going down. Yeah. And I'm happy to hear that you're getting less hate. And I do once again want to tell you that please do protect yourself because it's like tiring when this goes on for years. It feels like you have all the energy in the world and that you can take on all the hate in the world.
Yeah.
But as an old trans activist, I have to tell you, you don't. Like, you will get tired. Old. Very old. I'm so old. No, but
no, you are not. You are not. And thank you. So that's a really beautiful advice. Yeah, I know we have to protect each other, and I do try to log off. Yeah, take my time.
Good. But I had a question about not the hate you get, but I want to ask about the love you get. Like, do you get some messages from people who are like thanking you or saying like you are the person for me that you yourself is trying to make?
I would be tired without that. Yeah. I wouldn't come. It's over 2 years now. It would be a lot for me to take in if I wouldn't get one of those messages where where you think, oh my God, this is worth more than anything.
Yeah.
From young people who are living back home sends me long messages on Instagram telling me, my God, like I thought I was a freak, or I thought I was this and this. It was so nice to see you. I wanted to take my life. Say, sorry. So it is beautiful, and it gives you more motivations. So I get a lot of love. I even get sometimes gifts,
Ooh.
actually. Like I like these cultural clothes,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't live in Oslo, so I am not very comfortable with going to the stores where they sell cultural stuff because most of them know me. So people send me actually to my post. So it is nice. There is plenty of love, even though it's easier to get caught up with the hate.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I'm happy to hear that you're getting a lot of love. You really do deserve a lot of love.
we all do it. Nobody deserves hate.
That is true.
Thank you.
Yeah. So is it something you want to say to with this audience, which is mostly trans people, I think?
Yeah.
Norwegian, mostly based trans people. But this is like in English. We can also try to broadcast it broader. Yeah. What do you want to say to your fellow?
I want to say, people, be really. It's I know it's hard even in Norway, because when I started my transitioning, it was difficult, and I live in Alisha. I don't have all the resources, and even like public health it's not available. It's just this whole I have a lot to say about that, but I'm not going to go in very deep. But I just want to say, like, I know it's hard. It's difficult. I read sometimes comments on Facebook on, this page, and people are really trying to get help, to get medication, to start their future life transitioning. And it feels sometimes nothing goes on, that you are stuck, that the whole system is against you. But I just want to say, don't give up. We have to push the boundaries. We have to fight. I had to do it privately. I had to walk a lot and just do it privately, because I just didn't want to accept this whole diagnostic thing. So I said, you know what? Trust, I have enough people diagnosing me on TikTok. I'm not going to take it from the government. So don't settle for less. Like, fight. And if you see any injustice, and if people try to divide one another, which is a little bit easier, because people will always do, oh, you are one of mine, it's the other one, the issue. You'll be like, no, bitch. So sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah, you just have to say no, thank you. We are all the same. So I really want to motivate, and I want to tell. I've been reading this book called "To My Trans Sisters," and it's these letters come from a lot of trans people in the world, and my God, it's such a beautiful stories, and it tells you. You may think, sometimes your struggle is like, oh, I can't do this anymore. But trust me, people have been through and they deal with it and they are thriving now. So if you are out there, hold on. Like, you'll be fine, I promise.
And now
Am I being dramatic?
No, you're not. You're being fucking beautiful and sincere and honest, and yeah, it's beautiful.
I am dramatic sometimes.
Good.
Yeah, we need that sometimes. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think I'm gonna just say thank you for that.
Thank you so much.
And I'm really happy you wanted to come on my podcast.
I am glad you invited me. My God, you're such a beautiful person. You are.
Thank you.
So you're making me blush. No, it's okay. Keep doing the good job. I am so happy, really. You made my day. I'm about to move to Molde today, start a new praxis work. So it will be interesting to see even a smaller town.
Yeah, I do sincerely hope that's going to work out great for you. And if not, always remember that you're welcome to Oslo, where there is a little bit of a bigger trans community.
Right. Oh my gosh, that's my dream. The minute I finish my school, I'm going to pack my stuff. So I have one more year. I will be up in all of your places soon. So it was nice. Thank you.
Perfect. I'll invite you over for dinner as soon as you get there.
I would appreciate that. And I will make you some puss, which is Somali food. You would love it.
Oh, I feel so lucky. Oh my God. Yes.
I promise I will. Thank you so much, Luca.
Thank you.
Have a beautiful day.
You too. It was nice talking to you. Bye.
You too. Ciao.
My name is Luca Dalen Espeseth. Takk til Martin for the beautiful Trans Norway music. Thanks to our editors, El, Mina, Noah, and Andreas. And thanks to Thomas, who's made a graphic profile for the podcast. Follow Trans Norge wherever you listen to podcasts to get all the episodes. Hopefully, we'll also have more episodes in English in the future. Please follow us on Instagram. The handle is trans.norge. And follow PKI on Facebook and Instagram, pki.norge. And please join our organization at our website www.sjonsingkongruens.no.